What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thunder Sports Pod with JT and
The stash, baby. We bring it to you again.
yes, sir. So right off rip, we're going ahead and talk about NBA awards recap. So the best award, the MVP, Jokic gets it again. What's your thoughts on that?
I think I called that. I was like, yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think he wins it again. He had 26.4 points this season. That's what he averaged. And he had 12.4 rebounds. So I mean, he's got a double double, and he averaged 9 assists. So I mean, man was almost a walking triple double all season. There's a reason why he won MVP. He's, in my opinion, the best player in the NBA right now. Some people may not like that, sure, but he is. He can do it everything that you need him to. He's one of the most versatile big men to ever step on the court. And now he accumulates his third MVP. And I just want to say, like, who he becomes on par with when I say that. Now he is tied with Larry Legend, Magic Johnson, Moses Malone. He's They all have three MVPs. He is now with them in contention. If he wins another, then he's ahead of them, and he has the possibility of winning another one in his career.
Mm. yeah. Jokic is an elite company all time, and we got to give him credit where credit is due. No one, when he was drafted in the second round, thought he would be the type of player where he is now. And like you mentioned, his IQ, his passing ability is amazing for a big man. And honestly, some people were saying that SGA may have deserved it over Jokic. I know Shaquille O'Neal is definitely critical of Jokic, and I do believe it's a little bit because he's jealous of the big men that are successful because he wants to be known as the most dominant big man of all time in history. And whenever someone starts to do well, I feel like he's a little bit envious. I mean, you look at Dwight Howard with Orlando. He was bashing on him back in the day pretty hard. So I feel like Jokic was deserving of the MVP. You could argue for SGA, but ultimately I think Jokic definitely deserved it. And honestly, if Embiid was healthy this year, I think he would have won it though.
I agree. I think Embiid would have probably won the award had he not been hurt, and I agree with that statement. But he was. We got to take that into consideration. He has been
Yeah.
hurt, so Jokic capitalized on it. You can't blame the
Yeah.
guy for doing what he has to.
Oh yeah.
But with the Shaq comment, I would like to state so it's more of there's more of a rivalry between Shaq and Dwight on the sheer fact that he was number one pick. Dwight was to Orlando. He was dominant in the paint for many years. If I remember, if off the top of my head, if I remember correctly, three-time Defensive Player of the Year, Dwight Howard,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
he had Superman as his nickname, which Shaq had first. So there's a more rivalry right there. I think in dominance, I still think Shaq is probably one of the most dominant ever over Jokic, but I think Jokic is so much more versatile in the way he plays comparatively to Shaq.
Hmm. I
Um,
agree.
but I will say I don't think the big men are the same competition either. So like I don't know if you like if you're spreading the floor, I think Jokic could definitely get some threes on Shaq, but in the paint itself, I don't see it.
Hmm.
Even I'm a huge Jokic fan, so
Yeah.
but no, I like seeing him win this because I think he definitely deserved it. He is such a I mean he's the best player in the NBA in my opinion. So like yeah, he's gonna win MVP.
Mhm.
I don't think voter fatigue should even play an issue or like a contempt in him not getting it because the
100%. I think the voter fatigue is such. I hate it. I mean, it's really overused for the term. And honestly, if you're the best player on the court for that season, you got to give them the award. And I feel like Jokic and the Nuggets, they were one of the better teams in the West, and ultimately they gave him the award. I'm fine with it. And some people argued for Luka as well. Yeah, I believe he led the league in points per game. But the Mavs were not one of the better teams this season. They were kind of up and down with the record. Now they're doing good in the playoffs, but a regular season award. It's not a postseason award. So you got to take that into aspect of for voters. But Jokic winning his third MVP, we definitely got to have some legacy talks in the near future where he'll rank all time.
oh yeah, I'm top 12 I think off the top of my head right
Mhm.
now if he continues at where he's at now top 12 for
Mhm.
sure.
So, what do you think about Defensive Player of the Year? Rudy Gobert, fourth time winning it.
I think the Timberwolves have a really good defense all around.
Mhm.
So I think that played a big factor. I do think they were like the number one defense this year. Was it solely on Rudy Gobert? I don't think so. But I, me personally, if I'm just looking at a defensive standpoint from a player base, not as a team whole, then I think Wemby should have gotten it. I know he's a
Mhm.
rookie. I know there's some like speculation on like giving a rookie that kind of award. I get it. I understand like the thought process that goes into it on that. But Wemby, as a rookie, averaged 21 points a game. He had 3.9 assists, 10 rebounds, so he's averaging a double double for you. He's giving you 20 and 10 like Tim Duncan did for so many seasons.
Mhm.
But his blocks, dude, averaged
Yeah,
3.6 blocks a game this season. That's
yeah,
crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, his height definitely plays a huge factor
yeah.
in that, sure. But I was really impressed with that. He averaged about almost 4 steals or 4 assists a game too. So he's delivering the ball a little bit, but his turnovers kind of high. He almost had
Mhm.
4 turnovers a game. Like he's up there with Luca when it came to turnovers, and he
Yeah.
did average 1.2 steals a game for a big man. I think that's great. So
Mhm.
I still think Rudy should have got it. I mean, Wimby should have got it, but and then I think Rudy Gobert is a very good defender. I'm not trying to discredit him in the slightest.
Mhm.
But now that's number 4 for him, and that puts him in the talks of Mutombo and Ben Wallace, two of the greatest defenders to ever do it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see Rudy Gobert as one of the greatest defenders of all time kind of aspect. I don't think he's better than Prime Dwight by any means.
I would agree with you on that. I feel Rudy Gobert is definitely a great defender. Um, like you mentioned, some people are probably weary of giving Wembanyama the Defensive Player of the Year just because he's a rookie, and I don't like that at all. I mean, if you look at it, his presence was felt on the defensive side of the end. I mean, whenever people would drive, they would constantly kick it out because they know going straight up with Wemby's not going to end well for them. So I feel like his presence is more impactful, and you're fearing Wembanyama more than you are Gobert. I feel like Wembanyama is a more polished defender than Gobert. I mean, Gobert is a great rim protector, but ultimately, I think that Wembanyama had a better season overall for Defensive Player of the Year uh, vote. I mean, I would vote for him if I had a vote, but I think either way it'd be pretty close. But uh, I'm not extremely disappointed with the selection of Gobert. Like you mentioned, he did have a solid year. But me personally, I would go with Wembanyama here.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that. I just feel like
Yeah,
Wimby deserved it more.
yeah,
The presence thing was huge. Yeah, like if you watched any film from all season, you watch people like drive the hole and they pass it out when they saw Wimby. So I get it. Like I mean, just the presence of his defense alone it was insane. I know that the Spurs were not a good team, and
mhm,
yeah, it happens. But
yeah.
he needs help there. He can't do it by
Mhm.
himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them draft my personal opinion like probably a shooting guard and a point guard, or trade for a point guard to help him out. Kind of have like a Timmy D role all over again with
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker.
hmm I mean, like you mentioned, a huge aspect of this is the Spurs were one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA this past season, and Wembanyama was a diamond in the rough, if you will. So, and the Minnesota Timberwolves had the best defensive team efficiency-wise in the whole league. So you got one of the better defenders on the best defensive team versus a great defender on one of the worst defensive teams. I wonder if that played into aspect of voting. So I don't think it should, but it might have.
I agree.
Yep. All right. Moving on to Sixth Man of the Year, Nas Reed. What's
Nas
your thoughts on that?
Nas Reed has been excellent for the Wolves. I don't think he's looked super great in this second series, to be personally
Yeah.
honest. But during the regular season, which is what this award is based off of, he averaged 13.5 points, almost 14 points off the bench.
Yeah.
That's great. He shot 47% field goal percentage. He got 5.2 rebounds and 1.3 assists. So he is playing a little bit of everything, helping the Timberwolves definitely throughout the season on this. They definitely
Mhm.
got. I think he was a great choice for this too, because I think he definitely put in a lot of work in helping that Wolves team. Their Ant's real young, and I know the other guys are a little older, but
Yeah.
me personally, I think he played a huge factor for them this season.
I agree with you. I think Nas Reed um, definitely deserving of the award, but my personal selection, I feel like Malik Monk deserved the award out of the Sacramento Kings. Had a great season, averaged 15.4 points per game off the bench, And he was just an electrifying player for that Kings unit. And every time they needed a three, seems like Monk was giving them every sort of bucket each way down the court. De'Aaron Fox was looking his way a lot this season. So Nas Reed, Malik Monk, kind of 1A, 1B. You can flip a coin, honestly, but I liked Malik Monk's season a little bit better than Nas Reed's.
I think Monk would have probably won it if they had made the playoffs. I
Yeah,
think
probably.
I think them missing the playoffs put like a stain on them because they should have made. In my opinion, they should have made the playoffs. There's no reason for the Pelicans should have made it. I think the
Yeah.
Kings were by far the better team, but oh well, it happens. They lost in the play-in. It's bound to happen.
Exactly. I agree. Go ahead and move on to Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama. I think this was clear cut, dry as day. Um, I mean, I think this was the first consensus where everyone voted him in as the Rookie of the Year. No one else voted for a first place vote for any other player.
I mean, we had a little bit of a competition to start the season on this with Chet. Um, I'm
Yeah.
surprised no one voted for Ben Simmons. I'll just throw it out there, but I no,
Yeah.
this is like very clear cut and dry. Like you said, we all expected it like halfway through the season. All right, like okay, yeah. Now Chet didn't make the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah.
he did also have like an MVP caliber player on his team that helped push them there, and Giddy. I'm not going to discredit
Mhm.
either one of those. So I mean, he had more help than Wimby did, but Wimby just stat wise looked absolutely incredible. So at the start, I could see like the little bit of a battle between who's going to win Rookie of the Year. But when it came down to it, like halfway through the season, we all knew it was a wrap. It was Wimby, 100%.
Yeah. Exactly. I won't touch much on it. I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head with that. I mean, Wembanyama throughout the season, like you mentioned, Chet, he definitely had a great second season, but he's still considered rookie season because he missed all of last year. But Wemby was an absolute freak of an athlete this season. A lot of expectations, and he delivered in year one. I'm expecting him to have a great leap next season if they can get some key pieces in the draft and in the offseason to help him out. But we'll have to wait and see. But next award, we had Coach of the Year, Oklahoma City Thunder, Mark Daignault.
I think this is, in my personal opinion, I think this was 100% correct.
Yeah,
My coach got a like second or third on voting or something, but
yeah,
I think we did great, but like nothing compared to OKC. OKC shocked everybody this season.
oh yeah.
And I did some research on it on Mark here, and I found out that he learned from Billy Donovan.
Mm,
He's been with OKC as a whole as an organization since 2014.
wow.
He's also helped with the U.S. basketball, and he graduated from UConn and learned some from the coach there.
Huh,
So, and I mean, this is for me that which was a big factor. They went 57 and 25, and their team is so young. They
so
had
young.
an absolute great season, and I think this is perfect. I think he definitely deserved Coach of the Year, 100%.
I agree full-heartedly with you. I mean, the man is just an absolute genius combining all of these players, and they're so young. So if you're maximizing their potential, their play styles together, Chet, SGA, Josh Giddey, Williams, the two Williams. I mean, they've got some pretty good players that are still growing and developing, and having the season they did at this young age, and they're still in the playoffs. They're tied with the Mavs currently 2-2, so they could possibly make the conference finals, and that would be an extremely just. Honestly, I did not even have them making the first round of the playoffs this year. I thought they would, before the season started. I didn't know where they would go, but they're, definitely surpassing my expectations that I had for them to start the year.
I was not expecting him to be like a number one seed. I expected him to be personally. I was thinking like a six seed, like somewhere
Yeah.
around there. But
Mhm.
hey, I was wrong. Like, they definitely proved me wrong this season.
Yeah. Coach of the year definitely deserving. But most improved player, Tyrese Maxey. What you think on that?
So I think that he had an incredible season. I think he deserved most improved player personally. He went from 20 points to 25 points this season. Like
Mm,
that was a good jump. 5 points is definitely going to help your team. His field goal percentage did go down, but I think it's because he was playing more minutes and he had more shot opportunities.
Yeah.
And he went from 2.9 rebounds to 3.7, and his assists almost doubled. He went through from 3.5 assists a game to 6.2. So he has improved in like every
Mm,
stat category. But like I said, his field goal went down, but I think it's because he's getting more shot opportunities to be able to help his team. So I mean, that's not surprising to me. So I'm
yeah.
perfectly fine with this pick. I think Maxi definitely showed up. He looked good this season. He looked good in the playoffs. I think
Yeah.
so. That's my take on it. I'm perfectly fine with Maxi getting this.
I agree 100%. Maxey stepped up big time in the playoffs. I believe he dropped 43 or it was either 43 or 44 in round one when Joel Embiid was just he had the cerebral palsy with his face, and then he had the knee injury. So he had to step up big time, and he delivered for 76ers. Even though they didn't win the series, he's somebody you can definitely build upon in the future and rely on. So Maxey winning this award, I saw it coming, and I agree with it. I don't have any sort of difference with it.